Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a compilation of some of my past fall DIYs to share with you that I think you're really going to enjoy for your inspiration. So if you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, for this first one, I'm just going to take a pool noodle I got at Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut them in 2-inch lengths. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cork and I'm going to cut it into 3 equal pieces. And this doesn't have to be exact. You're just going to use 3 parts of this. And these ended up measuring about 5/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to take a paper bag and it measures so that you know you got the same size I do. It's 5 1/8 by 9 1/2 by 3 1/8. And I'm just going to go ahead and open up the end of it. Then I'm going to flatten it out and I'm just going to cut it straight across the bottom. Okay, then I'm just going to fold it in half and then I'm going to cut it in half. Now the end that's kind of torn up on the end, I'm going to take that bag and I'm going to turn it inside out so I can use the outside of it. Okay, then just kind of wad it up and then open it up again and wad it up again. You want it pretty wrinkled. It gives it a lot more depth. And then on this time, we're going to open it up again. We're going to kind of flatten it out. And then I'm going to do some little accordion folds in it, about 1/2 inch, so forward and backwards, all the way down to the end. And then just kind of crease those up a little bit. And then put your noodle inside of it and then put it halfway through. Just kind of make sure you got it even on both ends. And then start just gathering it around the noodle. Just kind of try to make it a little bit even. And then go ahead and tuck that end in, and then we're going to put that cork inside of it to hold that in place. Just kind of push it all the way down in there till it's flat. Then on the top, you can go ahead and gather it up and fold it right into the center of that noodle. These are pretty easy and they turned out pretty cute. And then I'm just going to take a stem and I'm going to stick it right down in the center. And I got these on Amazon. I'll give you the link for those. And just kind of glue them in a little bit, just a little bit of glue around the edges up there. And then I'm just going to take a leaf that I got at Hobby Lobby. I bought a package of them and glue that on. Actually, I didn't buy a package of them. I bought them on a vine. And then for the tendril, I'm just going to take a dowel stick that's 1/4 inch by 6 inch and I'm going to wrap it all the way around it, kind of give it the curl. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, and I'm going to go ahead and take those ends and wrap them a little bit more. And then I'm just going to twist those 2 ends together, and then I'm just going to cut my tendril off right in the center. And then I'm just going to fold it over and stick it down inside of my pumpkin. This is a really easy project. Okay, these were super easy to make. They look good. Let me know in the comments what you think. These would look great on a place setting for a party or anything. You could put them anywhere. Okay, for this next one, I'm just using a couple styrofoam eggs, some Waverly hazelnut chalk paint, and I'm going to stick a dowel stick into the bottom of my egg to hold it so I can paint it. And I'm just trying to get close to the color of the burlap that I'm going to be putting on this. And you don't have to use a styrofoam egg. You could use a plastic egg or whatever because we are covering them. And then I'm going to take my egg and I'm just going to trace it out on my burlap, just on the outside edge of it. And then I'm going to cut out 4 of these. And it doesn't have to be rocket science on this. It doesn't have to be exact. Just get it cut out, and because it will get covered up. Just make sure that it does cover at least 1/4 of the egg. Okay, then we're going to start attaching it. So I'm coming down at the little skinny end on my egg, and I'm just going to glue this right in the center. And you're not going to go all the way up to the top part of the egg. You're going to leave a little bit open at the top because we are going to wrap these here in a little bit. And you're just going to glue down 2 sides and the top part, and then just push it on there, and it'll go on there pretty easy. Just make sure that it is glued flat. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the opposite one. I'm just going to go on the opposite side of that one, glue that one, meeting this one, and then go ahead and glue it on the sides and the top as well. And don't worry so much about fraying. That's going to be perfectly fine because those two sides are going to get covered up. And you can pull some of the frays out. It's not going to hurt a thing because we are going to cover it up as well. And then you're going to do the same thing for the opposite sides, or the two sides. We're just going to come in down at the bottom and do the same thing like we just did the two sides that we just did. Next, I'm just going to take some 5-inch strips of craft paper. And I'm using a roll that's 36 inches in length. You don't have to use a roll that big. You can you can use shorter ones, and I'll show you how you can attach them. But I'm going to cut several strips. Okay, next I'm just going to wad it up real good. You want to make sure that it's wrinkled because this does break up the fibers in the paper, and it makes it a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm just going to kind of squish it together because I just want one little skinny little log on here all the way down. And then we're going to twist it as we're going to glue it. So just kind of get it as tight as you can. And then when we start attaching it to the acorn, we're going to start twisting it. And go ahead and grab your acorn, and we're going to kind of come right about maybe 2 to 2.5 inches from the top. And we're just going to start gluing this in, and we are going to twist it as we go. Now we're just going to go all the way around and keep spiraling up all the way till we get to the top. And you're going to go through several strands of this paper as you're going. Okay, but as you're going, just keep twisting it, and you kind of want to make sure it's a little bit tight, but not too tight. Just kind of keep twisting it as you're going around, and then glue it in. And just kind of make sure that you are going straight on your first line across there. That's why I keep picking it up. Just make sure that your first line is pretty straight, and the rest will be pretty easy to go. So I'm just going up on my next ledge, and I'm just going to keep going all the way till I get to the very top. But do make sure that your paper is pretty tight together, that you don't have any gaps between layers, because you don't want to see anything through that. You want it to be all one solid piece. Just keep twisting and going up to the top. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to add in another piece of that same paper here in a second. Okay, so now I'm adding another piece. I'm just kind of overlapping it a little bit. Just kind of squeeze it in there so it does still look like it's still part of the twisted piece. And then just keep going all the way to the top. And these really didn't take that long to make. I really think that these would be a real good craft fair seller because they were inexpensive to make, and you can make a lot of them pretty quick. And you can use the bigger eggs. You don't have to use that styrofoam edge like I was saying earlier. You can even use smaller eggs. And when you get to the top, go ahead and put a stem in there. And I just got these little wooden stems from Dollar Tree, and just keep gluing it in until you go all the way around. But go ahead and glue your stem in. And then you're going to go ahead and finish wrapping your paper around it to hide that opening. Next, I'm going to take 3 little strands of jute, and I'm just going to run it down where those divisions were between that burlap. So just put a little bit of glue at the top there. And you can use a thicker jute if you want to. I just wanted to use a contrasting color, and that's the only size that I have. So just go ahead and glue it up there, and then we're going to glue it right around the edge there, following that curvature just to cover that up. Okay, then my third strand came off. Just go back in there and just glue that down, if that happens to you. And then just follow the curvature on down each other of the other sides. And then we're going to crisscross at the bottom when we get down there. This just kind of really cleans it up a little bit. Okay, and then see how we're going to do an X along the bottom like you're going up the opposite side. And then on the other side, you're going to come down and meet those 2 points. And this would have probably been a little bit easier had you had a little bit of thicker jute. So if you have another contrasting jute that's a little bit thicker, I would go ahead and use that. And then just glue that down. Next, I'm just going to take some truffle Waverly chalk paint and a chip brush, and I'm going to kind of dab the paint off of my paintbrush and kind of dab it around there. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of texture. I'm not trying to paint the entire thing, just to give it a little bit of depth and a little bit of texture. And just keep brushing around there until you get it, but just don't put too much paint on it. And these chip brushes, I'll give you the link for these in the description below. You can buy like 100 of them for under 10 bucks. But I do wash mine and save them. I think these turned out so pretty. I mean, for a paper craft project, I thought that they really turned out well. If you liked them, let me know in the comments which one's your favorite today. This first one, I'm going to take a Slinky from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go ahead and wire these 2 ends together and wrap it around there several times so it does stay together. Now, I know it does look flimsy, but we are going to make this pretty solid here in a minute. Okay, then we're going to take a 3-inch piece of wood. It's just a little round circle piece of wood, and just glue it to the bottom. Now put plenty of glue on this because you do want this to stay together well. And then just make sure your circle is straight and kind of push it down so that those little coils kind of curve. And then after it dries, flip it over, and we're going to put another one on the bottom. Just make sure you put plenty of glue. Okay, after that dries, I'm going to paint it with a Krylon Pumpkin orange paint. Okay, I got that little stem at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to glue this right to the top. And then the greenery that I'm going to put on there, I actually bought that in a garland. I think I got that at Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to take it and glue it all the way around just to cover up that piece of wood. And you could put any kind of greenery on here that you want to, or you could even put peat moss on it. You want to make it pretty full though, so you do cover up the wood. Hey, for $1.25 little Slinky, I think this turned out super cute. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite today. Okay, for this next one, I'm taking 3 4x4s. I'm taking a 9-inch, a 6-inch, and a 3-inch. And I'm just going to take a knife and I'm just going to make grooves in it. Now, I'm just starting at the edge with my ruler, and I'm just going to make grooves all the way across to make it look like it's got divisions in the wood. And just take your knife and just start digging through it, and then do the same thing on that side as well. And you're going to do all 4 sides on each one of those. And it really didn't take that long to do. I'm taking some dark walnut stain, and I'm going to stain all 3 of my pieces. This really was a pretty color with this combination. And the 4x4s, they take the stain really well. Okay, I'm using a stick I found in my yard, and I'm going to cut it into stems and then stain it with that same dark walnut color. I'm looking for the more industrial look on this pumpkin, so I'm going to add these little corner pieces to it, and I'm just going to take my drill some pilot holes in it, and put some screws in it. And I'm going to do, for the short one and the middle size one, I'm just putting one on each corner, on the top and the bottom. And then on the larger one, I'm going to actually put some in the middle as well. But you do want to start a pilot hole so you don't split your wood. I'm just taking a small drill bit to do that. And then I'm using little black screws to screw this together. Now, I'm going to have to use shorter ones on one side than the other side because they did overlap. So I had to get some shorter screws for one side, and I can use the longer screws on the other, or you can use short screws on all of them. And on this larger one, I'm going to put 3 down the front of it, all the way around. Next, I'm going to go ahead and glue on my little stems. And then I'm going to add some moss right around the top. I'm just going to kind of pull it open in the center and glue it down. And I'm going to do that to all 3 of these. Just kind of trim it up a little bit and then just glue it in. Then I've got some 3mm wire, and I'll give you the link for that below. And I'm just going to wrap it around a 1/4 inch dowel stick 10 times to make the little tendril for the pumpkin. And then I'm just going to cut it off about right there. And then I went back in and did curl it back up because I changed my mind on how I wanted to do it. So I'm holding it up there, and then I decided to bend it in half. And so I am going to go ahead and back in, and I'm going to finish out curling up that area right there. And I'm going to do this for 3 of them. I'm going to spray paint the tendril with some oil rub bronze. I'm also going to paint some leaves with the oil rub bronze, and I'll show you at the end of the video how to make these. Okay, then to attach the leaves and the tendril, I'm just going to use some E6000 glue and a combination of hot glue together just to hold it till it dries. And I'm going to do the same thing with the little tendril. I'm going to just glue those on exactly the same way. Just put a little dollop of glue right there, a little hot glue, E6000 glue. We're just going to put this here. After these dry, I'm going to come back in with some moss, and I'm just going to put it over the top of it just to hold it all together to make sure it stays in place. And I'm going to do that with all 3 of them. Even though there was a lot of steps in this was really a pretty simple little project. Alright, those turned out super cute. If you like rustic farmhouse decor, you definitely want to make these. These are so beautiful. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, if you want to know how to make the leaves, I'm just taking some brown oven baked clay, and I'm just going to roll it out with a rolling pin, and I'm going to get it pretty thin, probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. And then I'm just going to cut it out with a 2 1/4 inch cookie cutter, a circle cookie cutter. Just kind of pull it up off the board first so that you make sure that you can get it because you don't want to stretch it. Then once you got it like that, we're going to cut it into 4 equal pieces, like 4 equal pie pieces. And then we're going to take each piece and we are going to fold it up till it's about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and make sure your sides stick out straight. Just kind of push them out there straight, and we're going to stack them. Just make sure that you do get them even. And don't press on them. Then we're going to stand them up straight. I'm just going to take a barbecue skewer and I'm going to push down backwards on it. Then I'm going to pull each section up to a point to make the leaf shape. And then I'm going to take the, pick it up, I'm going to squeeze it together to get that centerpiece shut. And I'm going to squeeze the top up a little bit, and then I'm going to squeeze the bottom edge at the bottom as well, just like that. Then bake them at 275 degrees for 25 minutes. I'm just taking a fuzzy sock, and I'm just going to cut it straight across the heel section. And then I'm going to fill it pretty full with some polyfill. You can make it as big as you want to with this, because these socks really do stretch. And then kind of just roll it around there so you can kind of get it pretty even and flat on the bottom. And then I'm just going to take a rubber band and tie it around the top part. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit. It'll get pretty flat. Then I'm going to take some jute that I have. I'm using some brown jute. And I'm just going to tie it around the top. Now leave enough hanging over the edge, because you're going to start tying off your rope as you go around it. And just going to go around it, pull it tight, go around the stem, tie it around the stem, and then you're going to tie it off with that rope that you just had, the leftover hanging over the edge. And then you're going to go the opposite way and do the same thing. Go around it, tie it around the top part, which is going to be the stem, and then tie it off again. And then we're going to go on the diagonals the same way. And you're not tying in a knot, you're just tying it one time. And then do the next diagonal and do the same thing, and that'll finish out your pumpkin. And if you don't get it exactly even, you can move those around. You can move the little sections around after you get it tied off. Just kind of even them out. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap it around a few times, and we're going to cut off the top. And we're going to cut the top a few times. We just want to kind of keep going until you figure out how long you want your stem to be. And then just kind of keep trimming it up. And then when you get to the very top, just kind of get all the fuzz off of it, trim it off one more time, and then we're going to start gluing it on. And then we're going to kind of go into the center until we have it completely filled in. Go all the way down to the bottom, tie that one off, and then you can go ahead and cut your short rope. And then we're going to start gluing it at the top and go ahead and seal it in. You want to go ahead and just kind of keep going around in a circle till you have the top part completely covered. If you kind of put your fingers up there and hold it, it kind of spins pretty easily. And then just cover it up completely at the top and go ahead and trim that off. And then we're just going to add a leaf to the side of it. That was pretty easy. The other side of the sock, just tie up the area that you cut, and then take a string and tie it around it. And then just turn it inside out, and then you'll have a base to start a second pumpkin. These were super simple. You can make this with just about any sock. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite today. Okay, for this first one, I'm just going to take some little pumpkins, and I'm going to take the stems out. And then I'm going to add a weight down into the bottom. So just go ahead and poke a hole down there big enough to put like a, I'm using maybe a 3/8 inch nut, just to kind of give it some weight so it doesn't tip over. And then I'm going to take a 2-inch piece of wood round circle, and I'm just going to glue it to the bottom. And I'm going to use E6000 glue as well as hot glue on this. I'll flip them over, and I'm going to do the same thing for the top part. I'm just going to put the same 2-inch wood round with hot glue and E6000 glue on these. And then let these set up and dry really well before you go to the next step. Okay, next I'm using Fast and Final spackling, lightweight spackling, and then a Wilton's 2D piping tip. I'm just going to take my piping bag, I'm just going to cut the tip of it off, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this inside of here. Now you can use this piping, this lightweight spackling on a lot of projects. It goes a long way. And I'm just going to take a popsicle stick to kind of put it in here. And it really didn't, I made 4 of these with just the spackling that I'm putting in here right now. And I had some left over to put back into my can. And the cheapest place to get this at is at Lowe's. You can buy a 32-ounce container of it for like $10. And it goes a long way. You can do a lot of projects with this. And then go ahead and push your spackling all the way down where the tip is. And I'm tying mine off with a rubber band to hold it in place. Next, I'm coming in from the side and I'm just going to take a constant pressure and just turn my pumpkin as I'm doing my piping. This is the easiest way just to turn your project while you're doing it. On the first round, and on the second one, I'm just going to go up to the top, same pressure, and I'm just going to go ahead and add all the way up to the top in a circular manner, and I'm going to put a little dollop on the very, very top. Okay, then I'm going to take a cinnamon stick. I cut it in half, and I'm going to put 2 of these in here, just kind of like they're in straws. And then I'm going to take some real cinnamon and sprinkle it on top. And then I'm going to embellish it with a little wooden leaf that I got at Hobby Lobby. And then I'm going to take some iridescent glitter and just put it all over the top of it, just to kind of give it a little bit of sparkle. And then you let it dry overnight, and then it's permanent. Okay, and this is how these turned out. They turned out so super cute. These are so easy to make. They make great gifts. And if you're going to sell them at a craft fair, you can even put them in like a 4x4x4 plastic box and put a ribbon around it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. For this next one, I'm just going to take a wreath form that I got at Michael's, and I'm taking a 5-inch burlap ribbon that I got at Michael's as well. I'm coming through the outer 2 loops on this frame. I'm pulling up evenly on both sides, and I'm going to stick my wire through it and tie it to the wreath frame. You want to make sure that you do tie your ribbon, tie your wire on here, and then just trim off any excess, and then we're going to start gathering it up. And I'm just going to take both sides and start pulling them together. Now, if you get a little bit lighter weight burlap, it was a little bit easier, but this one actually came together pretty quick and easy. Once you get a rhythm going on it, and just keep pulling it up. It doesn't matter. You don't have to guess the gathers. Just keep going, pulling it together until it's completely full. You want it to be pretty thick so you don't see the other part of the wreath frame through it. And you can kind of just start moving it around, shaping it up as you go. And this really doesn't take that long to do. I mean, I know I did speed it up, but it didn't really take that long to actually make the entire wreath. Okay, and then once you get to the next bar, you're going to cut it off and you're going to wire that part in as well. And then you're going to start over and wire in a new piece. Just kind of shape it up a little bit. Okay, then just the same as you did at the very beginning, we're going to wire the next piece in, and we're going to go all the way till we get to that next section of wire. And I think I used a total of maybe 3 of the ribbons on it, and they were on sale at Michael's. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and tie that section off, and then I'm going to come in with a different color. So I'm going to do 2 of the tan, and I'm going to do 1 of the cream, and I'll show you the color here in a minute I got. Okay, then I'm coming in with a cream color, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm just going to go 1 section on the cream color, and then I'm going to come back in and do 2 more tan and 1 more cream. But you just do it the same way all the way around. You kind of get the point of how it goes together, and then just kind of keep going till you have your wreath completely filled in. And then we're going to add the embellishments here in a little bit, but just kind of keep building it up until you get it pretty full. Okay, next I'm going to take some chicken wire ribbon that I have, and I'm just going to attach it straight across the back because I'm going to add a word, a little word on the front. So just kind of get it pulled apart there, and you're going to tie it onto both sides of that circle, and then just stretch it, kind of smooth it out a little bit, but you can pull it tight when you get it actually wired in. So it's going to go straight across just like that, and I'm just going to take some wire and wire it in. And when you get this side done, the other side, you can really stretch it pretty good. Okay, and then I got this word blessed at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use a little E6000 glue and a little hot glue to attach it. And just kind of center it right in the center. Okay, I really love the way this one turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. You could leave this up year round. You wouldn't just have to use it for fall. Next one, I'm going to make a little squirrel. I'm taking 2 long pine cones, and I'm going to cut the top of one of them off so I can attach his head. Now, I got these on Amazon, and I'll give you the link for those. Then, to make him stand up, I'm going to take an oven-baked clay, roll it in a ball, and I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to attach the pine cone to it, just push it on down in there, and then we're going to use some Bacon Bond glue to bake it in the oven so that it does stay together. And then you're going to bake it at 275 degrees for 20 minutes. And it's not going to hurt your pine cone a bit. Now we're going to make some little feet for him. I'm just taking 2 little balls of oven-baked clay. I'm kind of rolling them out, pressing them down, just kind of making a little foot, and then I'm putting a couple little indents on it for his toes. You're just making it into a log and kind of pushing the front part of it down. And then we're going to go ahead and put the little toes in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the already baked oven-baked clay that I put on the base. Just kind of smooth it on there. Just kind of take your fingers and just smooth it on and blend it together. And then we're going to bake this again for 20 minutes at 275 degrees. Just kind of take your finger and just kind of blend it so it stays together. And then you can use a tool too if you want to, just kind of push it together. Next, I got these little acorns at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to pull one of them off to use it as his head. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue down in the bottom part where I just pulled it off and kind of squeeze that together. Next, I'm going to attach a nose right to the center, and then I'm going to put some eyes in as well. Now, I got this little kit on Amazon. I'll give you the link for it. It has a lot of eyes and a lot of different size noses. Once you get it exactly where you want it, you can go ahead and take it back out and go ahead and glue it in. Okay, next I'm just going to attach some eyes, and I'm just going to kind of even space them on each side of his head. Now, if you can't find this little acorn at Dollar Tree, you could use an egg and cover it, or you could even use a walnut for his head. And I'm not going to glue these in because they were pretty hard to get in there in the first place, so I know that they're going to stay. Okay, next I'm just going to cut an ear shape out of some brown felt. And this doesn't have to be exact. It's just kind of like a long triangle that's kind of curved at the top. And then I'm going to cut one exactly like it for the other ear. Shape the ears. I'm just going to kind of pull them together at the bottom, put a little bit of glue in there, and just squeeze them together and just hold them until they dry. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the opposite ear. And then to attach him to his head, I'm just putting a little bit glued down on the bottom, and I'm just attaching it straight up on the side of his head. And do the same thing with the second ear. Okay, next attach the body to the tail. I'm just going to take a string, and I'm using kind of a thick string. This is actually a waxed string, but you could use any kind you want. And then just go through the bottom of the pine cone all the way through. Get through all the little needles, and then just kind of figure out exactly where you want it. And then we're going to tie it off in the back. And then we're going to go ahead and tie that one down to the bottom too. Come down through there on the bottom of that pine cone, and then we're going to tie it off in the back too. Now we are going to have to put glue on here, so this is not going to just permanently hold it up. It's just going to temporarily hold it up until we can get the glue done. But you do want to tie it off as tight as you can get it tied without breaking the pine cone. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue right in the center to hold it up until we can glue it. Until we can tie it. And then we're going to come back in with some E6000 glue and some hot glue in a minute so that we have a permanent bond. And once you get all this glued together, it will stay real well. Okay, to attach the head, we're just going to go ahead and put a little E6000 glue on the head and hot glue onto the pine cone. And then just firmly push that on down. For his arms, we're going to just take some pipe cleaner in brown color, and we're just going to fold it in half. And then we're going to have to trim this a couple of times until we get it to the length we want it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and curve it around to the back to attach it. Just put it on both sides, kind of closer to his head, maybe about an inch down. And then just go ahead and bend that around there. And then we're going to attach it in the back. We're going to stick it through the pine cone, and we're going to attach it in the back. And then just trim off any excess that's hanging over. And then we're doing the same thing for this arm. Now we are going to cut them off again a little bit shorter because they were still a little bit too long, because I'm going to have him holding an acorn. So I'm cutting it off there, but then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to cut it even a little bit shorter. And that's about the length that I'm going to leave them. And then I'm going to cut the other side to match it. And then we're going to glue these in too. Okay, and I'm sorry I got out of the camera here, but this is where I'm gluing in the other arm. Okay, then we're going to just bend his hands in, and then we're just going to put an acorn right in his hand. Hey, I think he turned out super cute. Let me know what you think in the comments. Look at that sweet face. If you're enjoying the video, be sure and give me a like because it really does help my channel. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to take a pool noodle and we're going to cut it at 2.5 inches in length. And we're going to cut 5 of them. This is real similar to the little pumpkins I did last year, but we're going to use 5 of them. And this actually, putting 5 of these together gave all the definition of what the pumpkin does look like. It gave it all the curves, so it did look more like a pumpkin. And then we're just going to connect them all together. Just kind of space them out a little bit, and then we're going to glue them together. Kind of get them in a circle, and then just go ahead and start gluing them in. Okay, then I'm just going to take some yarn, and this is a thick braided yarn, and I'm just going to start right in the center and glue that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull a bunch of this out, and so I have a little bit less to work with as far as going through that hole. And then, because you can add, and we will add as we go, more yarn. So just cut it off there where it's a little bit manageable, and then just kind of roll it up a little bit, and then try to just start stuffing it through. Don't even waste your time rolling it up. I figured out that wasn't going to work. So you just want to go ahead and start pulling it through, go through the grooves first and then start filling in with the rest. So you're going to go in between each one of those pumpkins first and then just start filling it in. This really didn't take that much time to do. You can just sit and watch TV or whatever you want to do and just sit there and just weave it through. But it went pretty fast. And it's when you get through to the bottom part or to the end part, it is a little bit tighter in the middle, but you can still stick your fingers through it. And when you get to the end of your yarn, you're just going to go ahead and glue that into the center. And then we're going to add another piece. So that's not going to go all the way across. You're going to go ahead and just glue that in. And you can glue it into the small holes inside the pumpkin too. To add your next one, you can just go into the small holes as well. All this will get covered up as you're looping it through. Now that's on the bottom side. And it does get a little bit tighter here. But just keep going until you have it completely filled in. And then I'm just going to add a stem to the center. You kind of push it in, put a little glue on the bottom, and then kind of push it on down in there. And then I'm going to add a couple of those little magnolia leaves that I made earlier. Just kind of pinch them up there, and we're just going to glue those right to it. And this was a pretty simple pumpkin. This one was just super simple. You could use yarn, you could use fabric, anything you want to cover this. Let me know what you think. Okay, for this next one, I'm just going to use the little dice from Dollar Tree. And these are the ones that you get in a pack of 3. And I'm going to use a 1, and then I'm going to use 2 together and 3 together. So I'm building 3 pumpkins, a 1, a 2, and a 3. And I'm just going to glue them together with the wood glue. And then just if anything that oozes out on the side, you want to go ahead and clean it off while you're doing this. And then just let those dry up real good, and then we're going to paint them. Okay, and I'm just using the Waverly chalk paint in Pumpkin. And I'm going to paint all 3 of them exactly the same. And then I'm going to take the Waverly antique wax and I'm going to antique them. Now I'm going to use that same saw to cut my stems. And the stems I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut them a little bit shorter. And I'm just using hot glue to glue these to the top. And then I'm using some of that same peat moss just to go around the tops of each one of these. And I got my peat moss at Michael's. This one's pretty good because it doesn't come just in a bag all loose. You actually have to cut it apart so it does stay together a little bit better, and I'll give you the link for that below. And then I'm going to do the same thing for all 3 of my pumpkins. And I'm attaching some of that same greenery to each one of these. And I'm going to add some pine cones as well. And I got those little pine cones at Hobby Lobby. You get a pretty good sized bag of them. And I'm doing all 3 of my pumpkins exactly the same. And for the little trindles, I'm taking the same 1/4-inch dowel stick. I'm wrapping it around 10 times. And I'm going to add 2 of them to each one of my pumpkins. Just going to kind of wrap it around the stem. And just kind of glue it in there a little bit. Hey, those were super simple, but they did turn out really nice. Let me know what you think. For this one, you're going to need two little house shapes. I'll give you the link for those. You're going to need some planks from Dollar Tree, some little squares, some long stir sticks. And we're going to start by drilling a hole right through the top part of these because we are making like a little toolbox. So go ahead and line them up because you want to make sure that you get the hole in exactly the right place because we are going to run a dowel stick through them. And I'm probably coming down a ½ inch from the very top and just kind of centering it. And I'm going to go ahead and start my hole. And then I'm going to go ahead and put them together and drill all the way through together. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take some wood glue and I'm going to start attaching them to this long plank. And we're just going to stand it up, and then with those little blocks is what we're going to use to brace it. And I think you get like a 5-pack of those wooden planks at Dollar Tree. And we're going to put one on each side, and then we're going to do the same thing for the opposite side. Then we're going to take our wood, our stir sticks, and we're just going to mark them, and then I'm going to cut them on my saw. And I'm going to cut 2 per side and just make sure they're exactly the same. And these will fit perfectly on one of those wooden planks. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and hold the planks up there, make sure that they're exactly where we want them, and then we're going to put our wood sticks on them. Now we'll have a gap between them, so it'll look more like a crate, which is exactly what we're wanting. And we're just going to put wood glue on there to hold them together. And I got those stir sticks at Lowe's. They're the larger stir sticks. I think they're called 5-quart. And then you want to go ahead and clamp it. And then do the same thing for the opposite side. Just make sure you leave a gap between them. To attach them, we're just going to glue down both sides and the bottom, and then we're going to put a little dollop of glue onto the little blocks as well to attach these, and then we are going to clamp these. Just kind of line it up there, make sure it's even, and then go ahead and clamp them. And then after this dries, we'll do the opposite side. Now we're going to measure for our handle. Just make sure you go from side to side, from the outside edge to outside edge, and go ahead and mark it, and we're going to go ahead and cut that off. And then we're going to go ahead and attach the other side since that side's dry. And we're just going to go down the sides, the bottom, then the 2 little blocks to glue this one on. And then we're going to clamp this one as well just to make sure it stays in place. And just get any excess glue off. And then we're going to spray paint this in a little bit, so don't worry so much about the glue. Okay, now I'm going to attach my handle, and this is a 5/16 inch dowel rod, and I'm just running it right through. Now you are going to probably have to hammer it because I only drilled that out with a 5/16 inch drill bit. And so I'm going to take a little rubber mallet and hammer it on in there. And just kind of get it lined up with the opposite side, and then run that through that hole all the way to the end. And just kind of make sure that it is flush on both sides. All right, look how cute that little toolbox turned out. You could use this for any holiday. Okay, now I painted it with some oil rub bronze paint, and I'm just doing something super simple. I'm just tying one of these Dollar Tree little leaves on here. I'm going to add a little bit of greenery in here, and then I'm just going to put 2 little pumpkins in here. This is just a simple, easy little decor piece that just looks really cute. And I'm just got those little leather pumpkins at Dollar Tree. Well, pleather. All right, for just a simple little piece of decor, I think this turned out super cute. Let me know what you think. Okay, for this one, you're just going to take a pool noodle, and I got these at Dollar Tree, and you're going to cut them at 1.5-inch lengths. And I'm going to do quite a few of them. You can get 31 pumpkins out of this one length, and it's 2¼ inches in diameter. Next, I'm going to take the Yarn Bees Chunky Knit. Now, it's $19 for a roll, but you can get it on sale every other week for like 30% off. You're going to cut a length of 2.5 yards, and you're just going to run it through the middle. And hold the tail as you continue to do this so it doesn't pull up through the center. And you're just going to keep going through the center and up through the top until you get it completely filled in. Now I am using a little hair braiding tool, and I will give you the link for that on Amazon. And you get a lot of them in the package. So you got a couple sizes to use for different size yarns. You're just going to keep going up through the middle till you get it completely filled in. Now, just make sure that you're going straight up as you're pulling it through. You don't want to pull it towards you, otherwise you will tear your noodle. So just keep going up through the top. And then on your, when you come through the top, feel for the needle coming through the top, because you want to make sure that it's not going through any other yarn. Otherwise, you're going to have a snag in that yarn it goes through. So just make sure you feel that the point is just by itself. And you're just going to keep filling it in, and on your tension, just keep your tension the same all the way around. You don't want to pull it too tight, and you don't want to pull it too loose. But you want to fill it in as much as you can. Now, in September, they will have the white pool noodles. So if you don't want to use the orange ones, you can wait till then. But this one completely seals this in, and you don't see any of that orange. Okay, and then when you start getting to the end, it gets a little bit tighter pulling it through. But just make sure that you use every bit of that 2.5 yards. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and take that yarn, and you're going to push it to the very center of the pumpkin, and you're going to cut the bottom off, the bottom tail off, glue it down, and then you're going to do the same thing to the top. Just kind of glue it to the side. Don't glue it right down the middle, or you won't get your stick through it. And then go ahead and take your stick and just find the hole and just kind of twist it in there. It goes in there real easy. Just kind of feather it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach some jute. I'm just going to take 2 long pieces of jute, and I'm going to tie a ribbon around the front, and I'm just going to tie it in a bow. These are super easy to make, and they are a great craft fair favorite. So if you do craft fairs, these do really, really well. And then you're just going to glue a leaf right there on the top. Pretty much it. That was pretty super easy. Now I did do a couple more, and I'm going to show you here in a second the other colors I used, and I'm going to tell you how much yardage I used on one of them that was a little bit different. Okay, on this one I used the Yarn Bee Velvety Smooth Knit, and I used it in the Adobe color. This is a little bit thinner than the other one, so you're going to need to use 3.5 yards to make one of these pumpkins, and they make these in some amazing colors. Okay, and then I also used the green chunky knit in the Muted Sage, and you're going to use the same 2.5 yards on this one like you did on the first one. Okay, those were so simple to make, and you can sell those at craft fairs. They are a great craft fair seller. Let me know which one's your favorite today. Okay, I hope this gave you some fall inspiration. If you want to see new videos, I'm going to be kicking off my new series on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and I'll have all new fall DIYs. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome.